But there were some limitations on that airplane, and as we see this one take off, let's watch this, Danny. Tell them about the takeoff.
Now, this will be a tactical takeoff. Simulation we're surrounded by hostile forces. C-17 gets to airport, gets a certain speed, then you'll see it pitch way up to about 20 to 22 or more degrees. Much more than any airliner you'll fly on. They're gaining altitude to get out of rifle range from a hostile area outside of their airport. Because, Rob, one lone bullet from an enemy rifle can ruin your entire day in a C-17.
Wouldn't want that to happen. This airplane is similar to the ones that are flown at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base these days, but this one came from the 437th Airlift Wing at Charleston Air Force Base in South Carolina, and our flight crew, ta-da! Now, it's a big airplane, but listen to this. I'm not going to name so many names. The pilots, Captain Kevin Hart, Captain Alex Ortiz, and a third pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Clark Belfonte, and the loadmaster, Tech Sergeant Matt Fulham. Now, at 585,000 pounds gross weight, that's 170,000 pounds of cargo, and they only have one loadmaster.
Because of automation, I mentioned to you, they got all the good features of the other aircraft, and then the things that were deficient in those aircraft. So through automation, one loadmaster can load and unload that by just standing still, moving his cargo or igloos with a button on the switch out of the airplane, transport it out, get the things off the airplane you want to get the things back on through that rear door, which is also a ramp. You can actually drive a Jeep up through it.
Or even an M1 Abrams main battle tank.
Even a big has a wingspan of 169 feet 10 inches. It's 174 feet long and 55 feet from the bottom of the tires to the top of the tail. Big plane, very minimal crew, very advanced, and it has all of the things it needs to do a show. That have been carved maybe out of a jungle, out of a mountainside. They have increased the landing sites around the globe to about 7,000 more places that they can land this airplane.
Then the C-5.
To maintain a high profile.
And the leading edge slats will also come down. It drastically changes the shape of the wing, doing two things. More drag, yes, but a lot more lift. So let's watch it as it comes through, and it's going to be fairly quiet until they clean it up. This is aerodynamically dirty. You see the landing gears and stuff. The leading edge slats and the trailing edge flaps are there. And you can look at those flaps and see how they're arranged. It's really a very aircraft. Having flown for the first time in September.
There's one. Didn't mean to interrupt. There you see the Venetian line trailing in. These lights come through there, depending on where you're standing. Change the components on the inside of the aircraft. They have all been positioned approximately at neck height. Quick disconnect fasteners will get you to a panel that has a malfunctioning system in it. You pull that system out without having to have any special tools. Put the spare in or a new one in, button it up, and you're on your way. So it's maintenance compatible.
As they turn around,
I want you to watch the bank here that'll happen here in just a couple of seconds. Early in its existence, there were some who kind of joked about it. Is it a fighter or a freighter? For two reasons. One is that rather than having a big yoke, look at that, that's in excess of 45 degrees worth of bank right there. And rather than having a control wheel or a control yoke, as they call it, it's got a stick like a fighter. It also has this wonderful piece of glass called a heads-up display.
The heads-up
Manual system to control the airplane. It is very advanced for its time, and it allows the pilots to have an added safety measure ×3, actually. Primary flight control system computer, 3 computer backups, and a manual system if they get in trouble and get shot up badly. But watch them as they quickly, that's right into 45 degrees when the bank just wham, just shove that stick over, and the aircraft responds like an aircraft a fourth the size of it. What are those things on the wings, by the way?
Oh, those are, they're like mud flaps.
You know, you and I have been through this a lot of times. You've never said mud flaps before.
Yeah, but you're retired. I had to get a laugh. Oh, no.
Tell me, okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I let Clisham talk more, on the edges of the wings, there are things that you may have seen on an airliner. They are called winglets. They stick up into the air a little bit. On this airplane, they're about 9 feet high, almost like regulations for basketball. What are they about?
Well, that's an
flaps.
invention of the great late Joe Clark. They are called winglets, and they are very effective. They have been retrofitted on corporate aircraft. They have been fitted on airliners, like Rob said, and on modern military aircraft. Those winglets control inefficient air, turbulent air coming off the wings of conventional aircraft wings. They direct it to an efficient method of reducing the drag, also reduces fuel consumption and increases cruise speed. Since the major introduction of winglets due to modern technology, billions and billions and billions of gallons of aviation fuel have been saved. And we credit that to late Joe Clark. He's up in winglet heaven right now. He was a wonderful guy. You probably met him at Living Legends when you were out there.
Indeed.
Co-hosting that. We had a ball with him. He was a great guy. So that is an invention that came about from composite material.
Let's watch now as they approach. We're going to see our air crew slow the aircraft down and demonstrate how quickly it can land. Now, if you've been on an airliner and have experienced a landing, you will
What if you don't have a wide enough runway to turn around?
Well,
what if you don't have a parallel taxiway?
I think we're going to see a little bit of a demonstration of that as well. Watch carefully. As soon as the aircraft touches down, panels on the nacelles will open up and they will turn the thrust reversers on. From the 437th Airlift Wing at Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina, touching down, watch for the panels. There are, and this is about as much noise as this airplane is ever going to make. Now, Rob, what I wanted to mention today is, according to the facts on this airplane, the C-17, it has the capacity to carry 134 troops, seats for 134 troops. At the evacuation a couple of summers ago of Afghanistan, it was documented that 823 people got into that fuselage. They counted every one